Pro boxing fans, we are here in Riyadh. With me, Mark Tibbs. Mark, how are you, sir? How's things?
Lovely uni. Good to see you, mate.
You too. When did you fly in? You weren't here on Monday, so when did you get in?
We was here. We've been here a couple of days now. It's our second day. Yesterday I had a lovely sleep, really good sleep, but even better last night. So I'm almost there.
You look like you're almost there. You need a bit of sleep when you get here. Let's talk about why you're here. Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen. It's a fight that I was speaking to Dave yesterday, and he said, "Listen, this is a testing of Johnny's level. We've sparred loads before, and if he doesn't beat me, then it may be issues on what level Johnny's on." Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why Dave's talking like that. He's an experienced man. He's been around, so yeah, it makes sense him talking like that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great fight. Yeah.
At what point does Johnny Fisher, the ticket seller, become Johnny Fisher the boxer? Do you feel like you're there now? Because at the start it was Johnny Fisher. He sells a lot of tickets. He's got a big fan base. At the Romford Bull. But now, do you feel like you're past that point now? Where is Johnny Fisher the boxer?
Yeah. Well, listen, you'll see on Saturday night because. Johnny's progressing. He's moving on. He's coming out of that rawness that people always spoke of him. But you can't take that what he's naturally got is strength, and obviously he's big art. But you can't take that away from him. He's much calmer now, and which means he's calculated in what he's throwing, and he's turning into a real good boxer. But listen, you can't take that Rocky Marciano-ish out of him. We've got to just polish up a little bit. And listen, yeah, I'm happy the way he's developing, Johnny Fisher.
In regards to Dave Allen, like you said, experience, been there, done that, wore the t-shirt, and he has, he has been in some tough scraps, to be fair to him. He has, like Johnny Fisher, been around sparring the big boys to make sure he's getting the right experience. How much has that helped Johnny actually, being with the likes of Tyson Fury, and them boys, just to gain that experience?
It's been absolutely brilliant for him. I mean, he took himself to America on a couple of occasions, and I'd love to have been there with him, and because I feel I can navigate him when I'm there, and he's going to be safe when I'm there. But he's come back in one piece, and he's learned from it. So credit to him. Yeah.
It's an interesting time for boxing in general, but a win for Johnny does push him, and Riyadh season loves the heavyweights, and it's shown that in the past. Tyson Fury loves the big boys scrapping, and I think we all do. It is a Premier Division for a reason, but how important is it that whilst this waves, and we're going to see all the big fights from Tyson Fury and Riyadh season, that Johnny Fisher steps up and gets his name into that mix, or is that a priority for you right now?
Well, listen, Johnny always leaves it in the ring, or he's prepared to anyway, and I know that. And with him polishing himself up with his craft, he's going to be fan friendly. That's for sure. He is already, but he's as I say, he's getting more articulate in his work, and knowing when to have a breather and when to stick it on, stick your foot on the pedal, things like that. So he's definitely we all know that he's a fan friendly, good on the eye to watch, Fisher style, yeah, for sure.
I do want to talk about the main event, and I do want to sort of a trainer breakdown of the main event. Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. First of all, after that first fight, you've been around a lot of fighters who have maybe come off losses and trying to maybe get into a rematch, or trying to avenge them losses. How is it a difficult process in avenging a loss, especially of this magnitude when the fight's this big?
Well, it's not difficult for the Tyson Furies and Oleksandr Usyks of the world to know what adjustments they've got to make, but they're that good. They've got to implement it. You know what I mean? They've got to implement it, and I believe there's only slight adjustments on both, but them adjustments make winners or losers. But I believe Tyson Fury will make that adjustment or two and he will impose his size and his range and what he did in the second 2 fights with Wilder, I believe, a little bit like that. You know what I'm saying? And get the victory.
I do want to ask you, I do want to sort of have a little bit of a breakdown of this fight. In regards to the fight, Oleksandr Usyk came, the last championship rounds was really strong in them rounds, and obviously won them rounds, and potentially that's why a lot of people saw him win it, and he did become undisputed champion. What adjustments does Tyson need to make then to make sure that in them 6 rounds, which we know Oleksandr is always strong in, always comes on well in the fight, that what adjustments does Tyson need to make sure that doesn't happen this time around?
Well, I understand he's coming in a little bit heavier, Tyson. Yeah, so that little bit of weight will be there for a reason, and that in itself can make the fight turn in the favour of Fury, as long as he applies it in the right fashion. You know what I mean? I think a little bit manhandly. If it gets a little bit ugly, if he makes it a little bit ugly and not pretty, not keep it pretty to suit Usyk.
Did you feel like that was the case in the first fight though, where he could have made it uglier than what it was? Because it was a really good fight, and as fight fans, we enjoyed it, but there wasn't too much ugliness to it that we expected from Tyson.
Yeah, no, I felt. It's easier said than done. Trust me, it's easier said than done. But we can just only hope, and Tyson can be the dominator with behind the front hand, the lead hand, and be the dominator. Right the way through, hopefully. But it's going to 2 superior fighters there, and that's what makes it intriguing. But I just believe that Tyson will make them adjustments, and he will leave it in there. Yeah, like he always does. They'll do at that level. But it's going to be good.
When AJ was asked about it, he did pick Oleksandr Usyk for the fight. He said he just turns it on in the championship rounds, I think he said, and he's just just a great fighter. But you can understand either or, because when I talk to people, this is such a good fight, because when you talk to people, you're getting one or the other. There's never a favourite.
Well, Uni, I was talking to someone today, and a couple of weeks ago, I was talking like I'm talking now, as in favour of Tyson Fury, and just hoping, he makes adjustments and his camp's gone well. But I hear that Johnny Nelson fancied Usyk, but now he's swaying towards Tyson because of him looking and analysing what he sees and feels from him, and that makes me more confident. I ain't seen what Johnny sees, but I was hoping, along them lines so someone like Johnny Nelson's picked up on that. It makes me feel better. So he's made adjustments, Tyson Fury, and hopefully they'll be the right adjustments to get the victory.
Just a final one on this fight. Oleksandr Usyk's footwork is probably the best that we've seen. Oleksandr Usyk's footwork is probably the best we see when it comes to the big boys in the heavyweight and the cruiserweight division. How do you stop that? How do you stop somebody moving so fluidly that like he does? I know Tyson did it well for the first 6 rounds, but how do you stop it consistently for 12 rounds?
Well, you got to hit a big target, and if you can hit big target and push a man on the heels, it's difficult to fight when you're on your heels because of balance. It's hard to throw shots. It's hard to push a man back for as good as Oleksandr Usyk for 12 rounds as well on the heels. But, I just feel that because Tyson is the natural heavyweight and the bigger guy, as I've always say, that is that would be his first point of call, is to get him on the back foot, Usyk. Yeah.
Just a final two
in front of him as well, because he does like the pivot. Usyk does like the pivot, yeah.
And he does do it well. If Tyson does win, actually, would you be up for a third fight, a trilogy?
It really, I'll always be up for to be up for you in the third fight. But it really depends on how one wins and loses. You get me? Because they've both been in some big, hard fights over the recent years, and it can take its toll. So, depending on the fight, the victory, the winner or the loser, how it ends, I think we all can make that judgment up, on the end of that fight.
Could there be a point where this fight, you can see one of these fights maybe just riding off into the sunset because they've done everything?
Yeah.
Could you see a potential from the results of this fight?
Yeah, either or either.
Or is there a lot of money still involved and a lot of big fights still involved for these guys just to be fighting in 2025?
Well, if Oleksandr was to get the victory over Tyson, and as I say, it all depends on how hard or not so hard the fight is. You can make that decision, but you can't blame either or either for sailing off into the sunset and enjoying their fruits of their labour. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah. Does that make sense?
No, I totally get it. Just a final tip from myself, sorry. One more fight I want to get your thoughts on quickly, not because the fight's still far away. February 22nd, Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, another fight in the heavyweight division. Just give me your thoughts on that one.
Well, a couple of months ago, someone asked me about what fights could happen, and I said that, my dream fight that could happen because it's a difficult fight, but I love that fight because look how Joe Parker's been performing. Look how he got rid of Deontay Wilder. Everyone was terrified of him. He literally pushed him on his heels, got rid of him. And Daniel Dubois of late, how he's overcome that mental weakness, and he's turned his life around, and I know how hard Daniel works and his family at the game, and I'm really happy for him. And but younger lion, I'm not saying Parker is old, but Parker's looking good. Daniel Dubois is on the up, and makes a great fight, but I'll back Daniel Dubois. Straight shooter, hard puncher, and his brain where it needs to be at the moment. But difficult fight as well.
Were you in Dillion's corner for the Joseph Parker fight? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you see a different Joseph Parker now from what you saw back then?
Joseph, it was a good fluid game fighter, wasn't he? Always a good fluid game fighter, and he's with Andy Lee now. Andy Lee was a former Repton fighter like myself, so I understand the technique a little bit. I understand that technique, but yeah, I think he's coming good. You get me? He's coming good now.
Just a final one. We are in 2024 and AI is a big thing. I'm not sure if you've heard, but there's going to be an AI judge for the fight on Saturday night. That's a new one. It's groundbreaking in boxing. What do you make of that? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for the change in boxing? Because
I love Uni the way you put it. Am I ready for this? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure if I understand it, because if it's AI, it's still controlled by a man, by a human, isn't it? A human's got to push the button and tell it what to do, no?
I don't know how it works, to be honest. But look, I applaud the Saudis and Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting this on. We don't know where it's going to go right now. It is very new, but yeah, what do you make of it?
What do I make of it? We'll see Saturday night, I guess. But the new generation, it's all that going that way. It's the new generations below myself. They're all coming through. And AI is a part of that of a generation. So, but what I make of it is I can't really understand it, to tell the truth. You know what I mean?
Let's hope there's no AI trainers in the future. Let's make sure there's no AI trainers in the future. Look, Mark, always a pleasure, mate. Always good seeing you. Good luck with the rest of fight week, because I know it's the open workouts tonight. You've got a press conference. You've got a few bits beforehand, and after that, I will catch up. We'll speak to you after the fight. Top man, thank you very much.
Thanks, Julie.